Good morning, afternoon, and evening, and welcome to Strategic Planning for Remote Teams with Mural Product Leaders, brought to you by Product School. I'm Megan Landis, and I'll be one of your guides through today's session. If you're not familiar with Mural, we are a digital workspace for visual collaboration. Today's session is actually hosted in a mural we adopted from a real meeting last month. So if you've never used it before, you'll get to see it in action today. In product management, it can be easy to get overwhelmed by day-to-day deadlines and feel like there's no time to be strategic and innovative, but dedicating time for creativity and collaboration will help you build products that your customers love. So today we'll go over bringing user feedback, team insights, and industry research together in one shared space to help you shape your roadmap, transforming those insights into a realistic quarterly plan with a process that creates buy-in within the team and one source of truth that everybody can refer back to anytime, creating cross-functional team alignment that gets stakeholders excited about your mission, and how to bring best-in-class asynchronous and remote team collaboration into every stage of planning with a platform like Mural. I'm excited to be here today with my amazing colleagues and my co-host for today's session, Senior Product Manager Nadia Romano and Gefen Lamdan, Principal Product Manager. With that, I'll hand it over to Nadia to get us started.
Thank you, Megan. Today I'm gonna talk about how you can bring user feedback, team insights, and industry research together in one shared space and how that can help you shape your roadmap. As you all know, as product managers, we get information in different shapes and colors and different sources. We have user feedback, insights from user interviews, learnings from usability tests, NPS surveys, industry benchmark, quantitative data, team insights, technical depth, feature requests coming from sales, from support, from marketing, and cross-team dependencies. And all of that can be a little bit overwhelming. So where do you get started? The first thing that you need to do is to review your company's strategies and the key results. And then think about with your team how you can help achieve those goals, which metrics you can move the needle. And that will help you define your team OKRs. I know that getting from your company OKRs to your team's roadmap seems like a long way, but let's take a look about how we go about it in Mural. It's time to dig into research. This is an example of a mural that we've used for our research. Here on the left side, we have the OKRs of the company and how they translate into your team's OKRs. Below, we have a summary of the strategy of the company. Here on the right, you can see that we have user feedback, and this has been clustered by topic. This is very important because it can let you know what are the main areas of focus and problems that your users are having. Then here on the left side, we have some visual examples of how users are actually using your application. And if you have clips or user videos showing them actually how they interact with the app, that's incredibly valuable because that will create more empathy with your team. Here we have quantitative data. It can come as line charts, bar charts, but also text mining that you can get from your NPS surveys and what people are saying, what detractors are saying. Here in the middle, we have some benchmarking. And when you do benchmarking analysis, I would just suggest not to focus on what features you have and which your competitors have, but on how are you solving the problems for the user and how are they solving it. And make sure that you also include not just direct competitors, but also other tools that might be solving the problem better. If we go here at the bottom of the mural, we can see a summary of different user interviews that we conducted during the quarter. We added pictures. We also added links to the actual interviews. And here it's important that you know the role of the user, the context, how they started using the application, why they started using the application, the pain points that they're having, but also the hacks that they use. And again, if you have clips and videos, that's incredibly useful to add. Now let's move to the top. Here we have insights and learnings from usability tests. It's important not just to focus on the pain points, but also on the action items that you might get. So once you've reviewed all the research, you can focus on narrowing down your personas and the main job stories that you want to focus on. Once you have that, you can move to creating your user story flow. It's important to pinpoint the pain points, but also the opportunities that you have. So after you made sense of all of this information, you can start defining and framing the main projects and the main areas of focus for your team. Make sure, like I said before, to not just say, we're going to do this feature, we're going to implement this solution, because you don't know yet. You haven't gone through the entire design process. Frame the projects as real problems that you want to solve for your teams. And this is an ideal phase to start identifying your stakeholders. So here on the left side, you can see that we have the stakeholders map in Mural. And it's very important to identify them early so that you can know who you have to keep engaged, who can actually help you build the product, and who you have to monitor. So after you've identified your stakeholders, you can move to assessing the risk of each initiative. And here it's important to bring your development team. Again, you can use the risk framework here that we provide, or you can create your own. So how do you make sense of all of this information? And here are some tips that I want you to take away. First of all, keep everything in one place. This allows you to bring different types of research together: text, GIFs, videos, sounds, anything. It allows you also to keep a history of record and to have a living document. Also, keep it visual. When you keep it visual, it creates a shared understanding between your team. It allows you also to easily recognize patterns and synthesize information. And it allows you to quickly jump from the big picture to the details. And last but not least, make it collaborative. When you bring your team together in the process, and when I say team, I include developers, designers, QAs, people from the support team, the product marketing team, everyone, because each of them will bring their own perspective. And this will help you increase ownership, empathy, and also accountability. It will also help you identify risks and costs early in the process, and it will help bring awareness of potential impact in other areas. So here's an example of a roadmap draft. You can see that it's a little bit messy, and it's okay, because it's a way to dialogue and to communicate with your team. You have the main initiatives here, possible releases, the main projects, and here are the complexities or difficulties that the team has pinpointed. And last, I want you to remember that roadmap planning is a team effort. It's an iterative process, but it's also fun. Now, let's meet Megan.
Thanks, Nadia. Hello again. I'm Megan. I am the product manager of the facilitation team at Mural. We are a strategic team, and if you use Mural, you'll probably know us from features like private mode, Celebrate, the outline, content library, and reactions. So one of the most exciting and also difficult things as a product manager is, like Nadia mentioned, once you've done your research and you've really taken a deep dive into what users want to be able to do and what kind of needs people have. I want to do 100 projects, but I can't do 100 projects. We can't do 100 projects. So I'll take the 100 projects that I want to do, and I'll go through and I'll ask myself, okay, what things align with our priorities as a company? What kind of things will get us closer to our goals as a team? And so this is a part that I can do as a project manager, because it is my job to understand the big picture and connect the dots between strategy and actual user needs. Then we have to turn these projects into a roadmap that we can actually accomplish in 3 months or a quarter. And this is where things get tricky, because Mural is a complex project and we have a pretty small team. And when we commit to a roadmap that we'll share with stakeholders or we'll share with other teams, we want to make sure that they are things that we can actually do. And so what I'll do is, like Nadia mentioned, first I'll go through and I'll take all my research and I'll add it in one place. So here we have a lot of qualitative user research, and I've gone through and I've highlighted different patterns and I've grouped things by different kinds of product areas. And then I'll also go through and add qualitative data, anything that's relevant for me to make any decisions, some calendar frameworks so I can have important dates that I have to keep in mind, teams' vacations, important holidays, events. I also have a section called the playground where I'll add my sketches or different ideas that I have that I want to be able to show and not tell. So I'll add them here in the playground. And then I'll also have a section here where I do some research, not on the product, but on strategy, and think a little more deeply about how people work and different kind of behaviors. My background is in behavioral science, and so this part is really fun for me. And then after all of that, I will create a draft of the projects I think that we can do in the quarter and the things that are most important and aligned with our team strategy. And I'll list them here. I'll list them by product area, and I will also list why we want to do each of the projects that we want to do and what strategies each of the projects align with. This is an example of a real mural that I actually used a few quarters ago with my team. You can see it's very big and it's not particularly neat, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be a picture perfect thing. I think when people first start using a new tool, they get really worried about how to make it look perfect, but it's not necessary. Something I will do to bring other people into the conversation and so that they can walk themselves through all of this information if they're interested is I'll add things to the outline. So here I've added all of the information that I want other people to be able to see to the outline so people can walk through it really easily without having to dig into all of my research and all of my thinking out loud here. And then what I'll do is I will have a meeting with my team and we'll go over all of this information together. And so when I talk about my team, I'm talking about my cross-functional team. So that includes myself, the product manager, our UX designer, QA, and our engineers, our development team. And we'll all go through this mural together. And so I'll walk them through, first I'll walk them through the research and any highlights or anything important that's come out of the research, any kind of other contextual information that's relevant. And then we'll talk about strategy and we'll talk about what kinds of things we're prioritizing and why we're prioritizing them. And then we'll go through each of the projects one by one. And so when we go through the projects one by one, like Nadia mentioned, things can get messy. This is a document that's meant for us to have a conversation around. It's not meant to be a final draft. So here I have draft 1, draft 2, and again, this is a real mural. So things are split up by strategy, by product area, and you'll see things here are crossed out. Other things have some notes that have been added. Other things have some visual aids that we've added to be able to show a little bit better to the team what we're talking about. So we're all talking about the same thing. And here we have all of these purple sticky notes here are comments from developers or QA during the meeting. So when they're in the mural, they can add information themselves about dependencies that there might be, ideas on how to approach certain projects, anything that we should be aware of, any conversations we might want to have up front. And that gives me the information I need to be able to take the projects from a draft state to a final state that we actually understand and can actually commit to as a team. So having these kinds of conversations all in the same place also allows me to go through and look at their notes and think and have time to process and really plan out, okay, with this new information about how we need to do these projects or how we might need to approach them, what is the best roadmap that I can make that's also something that we feel like as a team we can actually commit to and deliver. Having my team come together to have these conversations in one place is really important to me because it creates ownership. It allows people to understand why we're doing the projects that we're doing and not just what the projects are. And they also turn into things that are our projects, not projects that they have to do because I said so and I'm the product manager. They are something that's shared between us as a team. Everybody has a voice, everybody has the opportunity to ask questions or offer insights or opinions that they might have, and everybody's expertise here is considered and listened to, and that is really important for us. Another thing that's really important, something that Nadia mentioned before, is reducing risks. Important conversations that we need to have up front so that we can have decisions made when we have to implement projects, when we have to design them, get identified here, and that helps us run things much more smoothly when we are actually digging into each of the individual projects, and we're not planning for projects that aren't realistic. I don't have a technical background. My background is in behavioral science, and so this is really important to me personally as a non-technical product manager to have the voice of engineering and have considerations that I might not be able to make on my own. And then also to adjust the scope of the projects that we're going to do. If there's a project that we might need to split into sub-projects or projects that maybe one part we might need to do later on because of technical risks or difficulty or dependencies with other teams, then we have that information up front so that when we commit to a roadmap with product marketing, or if there's other teams that are depending on us to deliver certain features, that we can be as realistic and as honest as possible about when we're going to be able to do those things. And then another really important part of having these conversations is something that seems really simple, but I think in these times, it's really important to be together as a team. Mural grew really fast this last year since we've been a fully remote company. And so the case in our team is that a lot of people haven't met each other in person. A lot of people are still living kind of isolated. And so actually feeling like a team and having everybody come together and learn about different people's expertise and learn about their interests is really important to us. And also having these kind of conversations helps everybody to feel more comfortable asking questions, talking with one another, and really opens up communication so that our team can work better. And it's fun. We have a good time. So with that, I will hand it over to Gefen.
Thank you, Megan. Hi, everyone. My name is Gefen. I recently joined Mural to start the accessibility and design system team. We're a fairly new team in Mural on the mission to make the product accessible and more inclusive, as well as the company more inclusive. That's a big mission, and it touches each and every steps on the way and each and every product team and beyond product teams in the company. We rely greatly on cross-functional team alignment in order to get things done and in order to make the road to accessible product. So early on, we established several practices for ourselves to how to do that cross-functionality practice well. And we're using Mural for that. So a few examples around that. First thing, we created our team mission and vision mural. This is a way for us to introduce who we are and what we do, to be able to illustrate what is our vision and what areas of responsibilities we have, what are our objectives and stakeholders, and to be able to create cohesive stories around what we need to do in this company and what we need from other teams to do in collaboration with us in order to get those things done. After that, we created our little org chart in a Mural. So the company is growing really fast, and we need to keep track on every stakeholder we have internally to be able to understand who do we need to talk to about what do we need to do with each step on the way. So we created a little visual indication for ourselves, not only who are the teams that are the priority teams for ourselves, but also within those teams, who is doing what and what functions we need to collaborate with on what kind of projects, from design to planning, development, and customer success. we obviously also needed to create a lot of knowledge and share that knowledge with the other teams and individuals. In order to do that, we cannot possibly enforce accessibility. We need to make it a compelling experience for everyone. So we created this bunch of materials that are fun and indicative of where you are in your process of acquiring accessibility knowledge per your areas of expertise. That's an example of a little map we call Alleyland, and we use that to give people the idea of where they are on the road to learn more about accessibility and become more and more expert around this area. Most importantly, in addition to create our own process and how we work, we also need to make sure that our process is aligned with the other team's processes as well. So we created collaborative mural here with our sponsor teams to introduce one another, to be able to brainstorm about our shared and individual responsibilities, and also analyze planning and design processes, development and QA processes, in order to make sure that we are overlaying those processes with accessibility practices. So for example, here you can see that the yellow stickies are the core process of that specific team. And we here overlay that with accessibility practices that should happen along the way, from planning and design to development and rollout. That's it. With that, I'll move it back to Megan.
Great. Thank you, Gefen. And thank you all for joining us for our session today. We'll leave you with a few things that you can do next. If you haven't already, you can start a free trial of Mural at mural.co. And once you're in, please feel free to check out our templates. I highly recommend our brainstorming and retrospective templates. Those are really useful for project managers. And you can also follow us on social media to keep up with all things Mural. If you are a product manager and working at Mural sounds like a great fit for you, check out mural.co/careers. We have a few open positions, and we are also hiring developers, QA, and designers. So if working in this way also sounds interesting to you, please feel free to check us out. A big thank you to my co-hosts, Nadia and Gefen, and thank you again for joining us. Bye.
Bye.